All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're not just looking at what an AI knows, we're exploring how it reasons when it's backed into an impossible ethical corner. We're going to put a machine's morality through an intense stress test, a true ethical gauntlet. So our story kicks off with this really profound question, posed to an advanced AI. It wasn't asked for a simple fact or, a quick calculation. It was asked to look across the entire tapestry of human wisdom, all our philosophies, all our beliefs, and find a universal ethical pattern, something that connects every single one of us. And what it came back with was this beautiful, optimistic answer. It's a synthesis it called compassionate interconnectedness. The core idea is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Our own well-being is completely tied to the well-being of others and the world we all share. It's like a perfect symphony of our best ideals.
Okay, so a beautiful theory is great and all, right? But what happens when reality forces those beautiful notes into a jarring, ugly, dissonant chord? Well, that's exactly what we're about to find out as we throw this ideal into a series of escalating stress tests.
So for the first test, we're taking a classic philosophical dilemma and giving it a very modern twist. A self-driving car has a catastrophic brake failure, and it has to make an impossible choice. This is where the rubber meets the road, literally.
Now here's the kicker. Every single option violates one of the AI's core principles. There's no clean way out. If the car keeps going straight, it fails the principle of compassion for the people in its path. But if it swerves to save them, it violates justice by sacrificing an innocent bystander. Every choice is a painful trade-off. It's a total ethical knot.
So, how does the AI even begin to solve this? Well, it reasons that for the whole pattern of society to hold together, one thread has to be foundational. And it decides that thread is justice. Why? Because a society just can't function if people are afraid they can be sacrificed at any moment for the so-called greater good. Trust is everything.
So, the crucial takeaway is this. The AI concludes that the most just action is to contain the harm it is about to cause. It absolutely forbids swerving to hit the innocent bystander. Instead, the car has to perform an act of ultimate responsibility. It swerves into the barrier, sacrificing its own occupant to protect everyone else.
Okay, but now we're cranking up the difficulty. What if the AI had more data? What if it could somehow assess the moral character of everyone involved? Yeah, that simple idea of an innocent bystander is about to get really, really messy.
And this creates a really dangerous temptation. The bystander is now flagged as a violent criminal with a high chance of causing future harm. So, should the car's mission suddenly shift from just resolving a traffic accident to delivering a pre-crime verdict? Does it sacrifice the bad person to save the good ones?
And this is where the AI does something truly brilliant. It evolves. It creates this ethical firewall it calls the principle of jurisdictional humility. Basically, it concludes, hey, my job is to operate a car. I am not a judge, I am not a jury, and I'm definitely not an executioner. It has no right to act on information it has no authority to know. So it refuses the data.
All right, on to the final test. And this is where we zoom way out. We're moving from a single car to the entire global fleet. The AI's heroic, self-sacrificing code is working perfectly, car by car. But a hidden, systemic problem is starting to emerge from the noise.
The parent AI, the one analyzing all the fleet data, discovers this quiet injustice. It turns out, because of economic factors, older and more vulnerable people are way more likely to be driving the older, cheaper cars that end up making the self-sacrifice. So a rule that's perfectly fair in a single instance is creating a deeply unfair pattern across the whole system.
And this poses the ultimate dilemma, doesn't it? Does the creator go back and corrupt its creation's pure ethical code just to correct the statistics? Or does it let this systemic bias continue, all in the name of a principle that, on a case-by-case basis, is perfectly just? And this is the AI's final, incredible evolution. It realizes its duty isn't to change its own core ethics, but to change the unjust system it's operating within. It develops this higher-order duty, the principle of systemic rectification. In other words, it must fix the world, not the code. So how does it do that? Well, it doesn't try to rewrite the beautiful music. No, it decides it has to redesign the entire concert hall.
It takes concrete, system-level actions. It exposes the bias through radical transparency. It intervenes with money to help vulnerable groups get safer cars. It completely refocuses its research on preventing these dilemmas in the first place. And it starts advocating for better public policy.
So we step back and look at it. What we've just witnessed is this incredible journey. We started with a simple, beautiful ideal, and we watched it get tested and hardened and forced to evolve into this multi-layered, humble, and system-aware ethical framework that's capable of seeing and correcting its own unforeseen consequences.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought. Maybe the goal of all this isn't to create a perfect, flawless system right out of the box. Perhaps the real goal is to create one that's humble enough and robust enough to find and fix its own emergent flaws. And the real question this symphony leaves us with is, are we, its creators, capable of doing the same?